Prime Minister reacts to Manchester attack. 14th Pacific Public Service Commissioners Conference underway. And cardio intervention for PNG patients.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and thanks for your company. We begin with the explosion in Manchester, United Kingdom, which has left 19 dead and 59 others injured. It happened in the foyer of the stadium at the end of pop star Ariana Grande's concert. She has suspended the rest of her world tour.
It's been described as an appalling terrorist attack, a bomb exploding in the foyer of Manchester Arena. As concert goers, many of them children, went to meet their parents outside.
Oh my God. What's going on? What just happened? What's going on? Oh my God!
Witnesses caught in a stampede have described the panic and terror, seeing casualties, some children, covered in blood.
Well, there was a massive bang, and then everyone just started running towards us, screaming and crying, and didn't know what had gone on. So everyone was like trampling over us, and it's just awful.
Big flash, and then a whoosh of air, and just thought, what the hell's that? And then a smell in the air. Sort of looked back where the explosion was, and there were people laid out on the floor.
Some concertgoers say staff tried to calm the stampede by saying the sound came from a balloon.
I just run for my life and told us to calm down because it was a balloon.
Who told you it was a balloon?
Staff. They stopped us from running.
Authorities shut down the metro line adjoining the arena. Thousands of people sent running out onto the streets.
Come on, we need to get down.
We were just watching TV and heard two really loud bangs. We're in a city, we hear a lot of loud noises all the time. This is something that I've never heard before, and just saw thousands of people running down the street screaming.
On social media, panicked parents began leaving messages asking for people to help them find their children. And this, a dashcam video from a man waiting to pick up his girlfriend. A faint sound of an explosion. Emergency services rushed to the scene. The bomb squad arrived soon after. Witnesses say they heard a bang, saw a white flash and nuts and bolts flying everywhere.
Currently, we have 19 people confirmed to have lost their lives in the explosion and around 50 casualties that are being treated at 6 hospitals across Greater Manchester.
It's feared many young girls are among the dead.
A bunch of girls came running from our right as if they couldn't get through the door next on the next block of seats. They were coming from that sort of way. And they came running, screaming. I was with two 13-year-olds, so I immediately grabbed them and just tried to get out.
Reports from hospitals say they're treating wounds consistent with nails and shrapnel. The bomb squad has since carried out a controlled explosion in what turned out to be a bag of clothing.
We are currently treating this as a terrorist incident until we have further information. We are working closely with National Counter-Terrorism Policing Network and UK intelligence partners. This is clearly a very concerning time for everyone.
British Prime Minister Theresa May has called an emergency meeting with security chiefs later today. She's also suspended campaigning for the June 8 election.
My thoughts are very much with those that have been injured and lost their lives and their loved ones at this terrible time. We are doing all that we can to support them.
Prime Minister Peter O'Neill described the Manchester attack as cowardly, sending the country's sympathies to the families of the deceased and to the survivors. O'Neill said the international community must work together to end such attacks. The PNG government is working with British counterparts to confirm if any Papua New Guineans were affected by the attack. The 14th Pacific Public Service Commissioners Conference was officially launched by Prime Minister Peter O'Neill in Port Moresby yesterday. Department of Personnel Management Secretary John Cully welcomed Pacific Island Public Service Commissioners who will be participating in the conference. This conference will focus on ethical and values-based leadership and governance for public service commissioners in the Pacific.
The delegates for the 14th Pacific Public Service Commissioners Conference comprised of employees, public servants, Public Service Commissioners Chairman, Secretaries of Public Service Commissioners, and heads of departments from the Pacific Island region. Department of Personnel Management Secretary John Cully, speaking during the launch, said this conference will discuss public service reforms to improve efficiency. He said this would be the opportunity to showcase the leadership and capability framework which the PNG government has introduced over the last 3 years. Cully also thanked the Australian government for their support in realizing this as an important journey in making this present more effective.
SYNC is a mechanism under which an academic institution and a capacity building institution, both nationally and internationally, are working together to develop the capacity of the public service to make it more efficient, effective, and ethical, so that we can deliver services to our people.
Prime Minister Peter O'Neill said there are a lot of changes taking place in our region, and it is important to engage in meetings like this to compare ideas and trying to provide improved services to the people. O'Neill said there have been reforms in the public service structure to align with the changes in infrastructure development and growth of economy. The government has embarked on right-sizing and downsizing the public service to reskill the public service and assess their performances.
That's befitting of the positions that we continue to hold, and of course the ethical standards that we need to continue to maintain. That is why it is important that these conferences such as this, with the support of our partners like the Australian government, continue to advance to you some of the new ways of managing the public service machinery in our respective countries.
One of the challenges is the lack of skilled personnel which the government has addressed through free education over the last 5 years. Eric Arupma, National EMTV News.
8 candidates for North Wagi open seat in Jiwaka province held a successful protest yesterday against a decision to change 9 polling stations in the electorate. The decision did not go down well with the candidates, prompting them to petition the Electoral Commission. The electoral office in Buns has also been chained and locked by the candidates, demanding the Electoral Commission to respond. Vasanata Yama files this report in Buns.
The candidates who protested yesterday are Rudy Tumbo, Andrew Kumi, Paul Waine, Paul Wan, Mond Palme, Justin Wapi, Kenneth Manjip, and Frank Goi. They were not happy with a decision to change the polling stations of 9 council wards to a central location at Singorok Defence Barracks in Kerowil. 3 of the council wards are from Nondugul and 6 council wards from the Buns area, which have at least 18,000 eligible voters.
We feel strongly that the election in North Wagi is highly compromised, especially that has to do with a relocation of 9+ polling areas to a non-gazetted polling station, which we feel is there is undue influence, there is exploitation and manipulation. We feel this decision is not in the best interest of the people of North Wagi.
The candidates petitioned the Electoral Commission a week ago to revoke this decision as it is not a gazetted polling area. They raised concerns that the safety and security of the candidates and their voters will not be guaranteed, as each council wards have at least 1 candidate running for the open seat or regional.
We have to justify and then know the reasons behind why, where's the threats and how to save the cost, and why this moving this location or the polling locations to different locations where it can save cost. So we want the Electoral Commission to justify us.
Another issue raised was the transportation, as these 9 wards are scattered and some will have to travel by vehicles to cast their votes and return. It's also understood that 2 of the 9 council wards are Wearing tribes and 6 people were recently killed in a separate clash. They have not made any peace ceremony yet.
Electoral Commission blo papunugini emi mas luglu lo disla issue blo mi blo not wagi na emi mas address him disla na blong good blo blong election lo not wagi. Otherwise mi blo lugu morsen plenty heavy bakama plenty man meri olina blong give vote all by miss out, especially all handicapped ones, especially all labun.
The candidates fear that this election will not be free, fair and safe. They have also questioned the provincial police commander, Chief Superintendent Joseph Tondop's position in releasing information in a newspaper article stating security and cost reasons to move the polling stations.
Is Mr. Tondop is paying for the cost? Is he paying for the Jiwaga election cost? No, he's not. These things is paid by the Commission and government of Papua New Guinea. Why is he concerned about the little things like saving the cost? That's not his job. So PPC Blojiwaga are making big mistake.
The electoral office at Barnes was chained yesterday by the candidates. The office will be closed until Electoral Commission gives them a reasonable feedback. The election manager for Jiwaka Province, Rosie Pandi, is currently in Port Moresby to discuss this issue with EC. Vasinata Yama, National MTV News, Barnes.
Don't go away. National MTV News will be back after the break. Welcome back. Medang residents are raising concerns over the poor state of roads in and around the town. The residents describe the poor road conditions as an eyesore. Martha Louise with this report.
This is the deplorable condition of the roads in Medang town. There are huge potholes everywhere, causing traffic hazards for Medang drivers, especially during peak hours. Residents say the roads have reached a state where they are now becoming an eyesore to the community. This is the deplorable condition of the roads in Medang town. There are huge potholes everywhere, causing traffic hazards for Medang drivers. A long-time resident, Daniel Mandi, told MTV it's almost a year now and the roads have not got any better. Mandi vented his frustration, saying whoever forms the next government must consider fixing the Medang roads.
So me like Muslims la road time next one government I am coming said me like Muslim emas sidims la road where one money and put him go government emas make him road must come up with some Kolta Street. Or no can put him wasan credit maps la road because dulu belum bela Islam Medan town em no kat one bela hab lig happen me safe na stop and mogat happen bakarap.
Another resident, Stephen Yandi, who has been in Medang, says the town has lost its beauty and color. The deteriorating roads are one of the main causes Medang is losing its once popular tag of beautiful.
So white line is all months walk about blame too. And walk light. And walk light, no car to no lookies last some no draba will run in Celamere. All walk business inside, walk all PMB blood cell. This road there white road crossing I must paint him good. The steady road was I must stop us before now. We must walk white good road.
MTV has tried getting comments from the Medang Provincial Works Manager since last week to no avail. Martha Louise, National MTV News, Medang.
28 patients out of 100 suffer from heart diseases daily, and an average of 12 patients seek treatment. That's the statistic from the Pacific International Hospital in Port Moresby. The hospital has the only lab in the country equipped to analyze heart conditions, and now the hospital also has a resident interventional cardiologist attached with its medical team. Melisi Goviro has this report.
Dr. Nagarajan is an international senior adult cardiologist who specializes in treating ischemic heart diseases, a condition that decreases blood flow and oxygen to the heart muscle, ultimately causing heart attacks. In his 19 years of experience serving various institutions in the UK, Dr. Nagarajan says heart attack intervention has gained popularity in developed nations. It is one of the latest medical breakthroughs in cardiology. While there are already 3 resident cardiologists engaged with the hospital, none of them specialize in this procedure.
Albeit for the period for which the visiting cardiologist was available, we had Dr. Richard Chan coming all the time from Kent, and we had Dr. Vinit, he comes from India, Ahmedabad. So it was only the period of a week or so when they were available here, you could do an actual live intervention. This means if somebody has a heart attack, he can straight away be wheeled into the cath lab, or stent can be put, or the clot can be dissolved, a life-saving procedure can be conducted.
But now with Dr. Nagarajan attached with the hospital, the option of going under the knife to fix minor problems like clot obstruction in heart arteries can be avoided within 60 minutes of a heart attack, 24/7.
Treating an acute heart attack involves 2 components. One is medicines. Try and dissolve the clot as much as possible through the medicine. Try and establish some degree of perfusion, which is the blood circulation. But it will not be complete until we mechanically intervene and try to remove the clot as much as do. When they are coupled, the success rate is close to 99%, provided they are in time. They are done in time, actually, before any damages happens to the heart.
The symptoms of the onset of a heart attack present themselves in the form of chest pain, breathlessness, dizziness, palpitation, and unusual sweating. Dr. Nagarajan says the occurrence of cardiovascular disorders in developed nations is no different from that in developing nations like PNG. But more people in developing countries die from cardiovascular disorders.
But why the developing countries not doing brilliantly is just 2 factors. One is lack of awareness, and number 2 is a lack of facilities.
According to PIH CEO Kal Sandeep Shaligram, the hospital itself sees almost a dozen patients suffering from heart diseases every day. PIH already has a chest pain clinic every Friday that offers free screening for any of the symptoms that may bear the risk of stroke or heart attack. Now with Dr. Nagarajan in the nation, people can avoid the cost of flying out of the country to fight heart attacks. Melissa Goviro, National EMTV News.
A man in Port Moresby, said to be homeless, has died in front of a busy shopping centre at the 4 Mile area this afternoon. Eyewitnesses say the deceased was just sitting in front of a kaiba when he collapsed and died.
When EMTV News arrived at the scene, the deceased body was put on a stretcher. The man believed to be in his 60s died in front of this shopping center. Eyewitnesses say they have not seen the man before. However, some identified him as a homeless man who they've seen scouring the streets of Port Moresby at night for a place to sleep. He came to this very spot yesterday night to rest, and he died at around lunchtime today.
Just that no morning. Ulman come now, give him some the KG, let's stop. Now I'm just sit down, no same stop now. Same time, some flower number them KG, them style of mouse yet. I'm just sit down, stop now, life lemon, big man rushing. So
the death of this man brings to light the issue of homeless men and women in Port Moresby. A few months ago, MTV's Awesome One program did a story on the topic. However, to date, little has been done by relevant authorities. And while the government holds pride in developing the nation's capital with state-of-the-art infrastructures in the last 5 years, there is more to be done in ensuring ordinary Papua New Guineans are not forced to sleep on the streets at night. Stanley Ove Jr., National EMTV News.
A dormitory at Port Moresby Technical College went up in flames this afternoon. The dormitory that houses male students was apparently empty when the fire started. The students residing in the dormitory were in class and lost most of their belongings, including laptops and other school resources.
The building that went into flame this afternoon was a newly renovated building. It used to be a computer lab turned into a boys' dormitory. The fire started at 2 p.m. this afternoon. Student leader Elton Itam told EMTV that all of the students residing in the dormitory were in class when the fire started.
This dormitory was used by the electrical department students, the NC students. We were up in the classrooms while the fire began.
While the cause has not been confirmed, the students who reside at the dormitory lost most of their items.
Some of the students, they lost their valuable items like laptops and their certificates. Some of them, their clothes were bent down, their beddings were somewhere there in Ras and Hari. They saved some of their belongings.
The POMTech principal said that it was disappointing that the fire truck arrived an hour later.
Our fire people came I think an hour later. We were lucky to have our friends from the next door, CTF. They had a firefighting equipment. They were able to help us. Fire hydrant was there.
But applauded the firemen for controlling the fire that could have spread it to other dormitories and the warden's house.
The people from the fire brigade came. They managed to control the fire and put out the fire. And luckily we didn't have the fire spread to the other dormitories as well as the warden's house.
The chairman of the Board of Governors appealed to sponsors of students who were affected to help accommodate the students due to most of the students had not paid accommodation fee.
The sponsors of the students, 60 students were accommodated in the area, that especially Teleforeman and Kirin are good enough. Your students are now, we can class them as without accommodation.
The chairman says it was disappointing for the school to lose a dormitory when the school was looking to expand further.
Have the fire department in readiness who are doing an investigation on that. As soon as they complete the investigation, but preliminary talk is that it could be either works of arson or it also could be electrical fault, whichever way. We are very, very disappointed. The college is very disappointed at that.
The students for now are said to be housed in the classrooms until the school finds accommodation for them. Adelaide Sirks, Kari National, EMTV News.
A health facility in the Kutubu local level government area will see the recruitment of health extension officers after 2 housing projects were completed. Sister in charge Betty Alu told EMTV News Inu Health Centre had seen health officers leave as housing was a problem. Sister Alu says the houses will now help improve the level of healthcare services in the area.
Members of the Nipa Kutubu District Development Authority, Southern Highlands Provincial Health, sitting MP Pesap Jeffrey Komal and local leaders visited Inu Health Centre to oversee the houses. In his speech, the sitting MP spoke highly of the current policies implemented by the People's National Congress-led government. Despite criticisms by many over the free primary healthcare policy, MP Komal said the staff houses were the outcome of government's commitment in the health sector.
You may like enjoy one facility. You may like enjoy one house. You may get need longer. Any come through long this la People's National Congress government. Through long local member long you.
The 2 staff houses were built under the funding of the Nipa Kutubu district at the cost of 350,000 kina and are the first in the past 20 years.
Development money long you and I need law health sector. So we are implementing. We are making come out this law health sector policy at work.
Inu Health Centre serves nearly 6,000 people and it will take about 3 to 4 hours to reach Nipa Station or Mendi Town for a referral hospital. Recently, the status of Inu Health Centre was upgraded. Chairman of the health facility says more health workers are needed with more housing to cater for them.
Me like him 4 more staff. Now me like him 4 more staff house. because secondary school am increasing. People current plantina, population pull up through. So we have to accommodate you.
Following the opening of these staff houses, the sister in charge hopes more health officers will be posted to Hinu.
For the trial last month, we didn't come up in. We got HEO, that's why we got house problem, and then go back in. So now that we got house to here, this time lo good to lo good service, we providing all patients. When we got referrals coming in, we make less referrals go out.
The L65 building is built by a local company, Wonderland Construction. Jacob Pavet, Junior National, EMTV News.
Meanwhile, Sister Alu told EMTV News there is growing concern of the high number of tuberculosis cases recorded in Kutubu. Sister Alu says the health facility must be extended to treat such diseases. She says the current health facility and manpower of health workers will not help fight this killer disease.
One of the common medical problem and TB here. This plan. Me as a midwife, me know what narpla responsibilities whereby me go over na treat him kind of patients or same or look on. Me got limits to me stop. By the time HO come inside, na me play extending. Kind of same our staff HO come inside. Good lamo way. I think HO by come now good lamo lo HO can look like kind of something the same cases the same.
Bagwale Primary, a remote school in Nipa Kutubu district in Southern Highlands, will now enjoy the luxury of a new double classroom. Head teacher Brendan Baugh says this is the first learning facility since its establishment in 1999. Sitting MP Pesap Jeffrey Komal visited the school to cut the ribbon and signify the opening of this learning facility.
Bagwale Primary School is one of the remote schools in Southern Highlands Province, but it has played a crucial impact as an educational institution for children in the Kutubu area. Since its establishment in 1999, consecutive governments have shown no support to improve the learning environment for students attending the school. Sitting MP Pesap Jeffrey Komal visited the school to open a double classroom under the Nipa Kutubu District Educational Sector projects. Komal's presence is something very rare among this community who have not seen the political support needed in the past 10 years.
We officially opening this double classroom.
He says every ruling government is given funding to implement its policies and improve its level of service delivery in districts despite geographic locations.
Government give him UMI development funds. Long strong him all policies belong in. Also in free education, free primary health care, infrastructure, law and justice, SME na agriculture.
Nipa Kutubu district has a massive landmass and shares borders with Hela, Western Enga and Gulf provinces. The sitting MP says it's never been easy to implement projects with increasing population neglected by past governments.
All services people are starting long end. Nogar one plan member is starting finish long end and people continue Nogar. People is starting all services law zero.
The Kutubu LLG president says this classroom will now boost its capacity and provide the support the school needed.
Because handmark for you, signboard for you, comes from Pagwale, legally corner place, you put him, handmark for you finish now. People welcome him, you want them hot.
The school is putting up to its current facilities. Head teacher Brendan Baugh says the school hopes to have more support to help educate the growing population.
We've not been looking on the sense something to service of classroom law or nala MPs say this type nango. First of its kind lo pagwale mi blog is double classroom law jembe gomal nami amamas nami one person.
Bagwale Primary School is a level 4 school with a teaching staff of 8. The new double classroom is built at the cost of 100,000 kina. Other schools like Muvi, Orokam, Tanuga, Fogomai and Tubo also received a similar support along with Kutubu Secondary. Jacob Pavet, Junior National, EMTV News.
Colgate-Palmolive's back-to-school promotion saw 4 schools in the southern Momase Highlands and New Guinea Islands region win prizes. Tediro Primary School was presented with a computer set and printer from Colgate-Palmolive in Port Moresby today for the best-performing school in the southern region.
The back-to-school promotion started in 2015. Their main objective was to encourage health and hygiene in schools. The brush twice a day for strong, healthy teeth and promote washing of hands with soap were the 2 concepts they came up with for the promotion.
So it's to brush your teeth twice a day for strong, healthy teeth and to promote hand washing with soap. These 2 activities have great health and educational benefits, and we can't underestimate those benefits. Brushing your teeth twice a day and washing your hands every time after you've been to the toilet, you've been outside playing with animals or pets, or just outside playing in general, and before you eat food. You must wash your hands because there are a lot of yucky germs out there, and washing soap kills those germs and gives you a much healthier lifestyle.
The promotion ran for 2 months, which saw schools around the country have students collecting empty packs of Colgate or Protex products. 4 schools from the 4 regions of PNG were announced winners today.
And I'm very, very proud to say once again that we're honoured that Tediro School has won this prize. But there are also 3 other regions and 3 other schools that are recipients of the same prize. The Mamasi region, it was the Mongneo Primary School, all the way up in Wewak. Go Wewak. The Highlands region, Fanny Fua Extension School in Goroka. And in New Guinea Islands, the Ruango Primary School in Kimby. So those 3 schools, in addition to Tediro, will be receiving the computer sets and printers. So well done to all those schools.
Different prizes range from toothpaste and exercise books to sporting equipment were given to the winners. Russell Ashwin, National EMTV News.
And now looking at our finance news, the kina closed unchanged at $0.3145 in the interbank markets. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.307 $0.4084 Australian dollars, $0.2701 euro and 33.8 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, cocoa and copper closed higher, while coffee closed the day lower. Palm oil, crude oil and copper all closed the day higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 88.99 points higher, the ASX closed at 11.01 points lower, and the All Ordinaries closed at 8.44 points lower. Stories making headlines overseas. When we come back, stay with us. Welcome back to the news. Turning overseas, U.S. President Donald Trump is hoping to broker the ultimate deal, peace in the Middle East. He is in Israel, the second stop on his first foreign trip, where he received a warm welcome, but not everyone is happy that he's there.
Even with his arrival on Air Force One, a small piece of history was made. The first ever direct flight between Saudi Arabia and Israel.
Hello, my friend.
There are no diplomatic relations between the 2 countries. He's here on an outreach program. Not that Melania Trump seemed very interested in that. The self-proclaimed deal-maker is after what he calls the ultimate deal, peace between Israelis and Palestinians.
We have before us a rare opportunity to bring security and stability and peace to this region and to its people, defeating terrorism, and creating a future of harmony, prosperity, and peace. But we can only get there working together. There is no other way.
It was then on to Jerusalem, a still divided city whose future status will be hotly contested in any peace agreement. The Trump mission to bring together the 3 great religions of Christianity, Judaism and Islam.
Hello.
This evening, Donald Trump went to have dinner at the Israeli Prime Minister's residence, and Benjamin Netanyahu was sounding unusually upbeat and positive about the future prospects.
For the first time in many years, and Mr. President, for the first time in my lifetime, I see a real hope for change.
But in the West Bank, talk of change and new beginnings seemed as far away as ever, as Israeli soldiers clashed with Palestinian protesters, some clearly unhappy about the president's visit.
Former U.S. National Security Advisor Michael Flynn looks set to invoke his Fifth Amendment right in order to avoid a subpoena to hand over intelligent Russian collusion. His lawyers had offered for full immunity, but that was turned down.
Tonight, the top Democrat on the House Oversight Committee says he has evidence former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn lied to the Pentagon about his business dealings with Russia. In 2015, Flynn was paid $45,000 by the Russians to attend this Moscow gala. That's him shaking hands with President Putin. But now, Congressman Elijah Cummings says he's obtained Pentagon documents that appear to indicate that General Flynn lied to the investigators who interviewed him in 2016 as part of his security clearance renewal by saying he has not received any benefit from a foreign country and only had insubstantial contact with foreign nationals. As a result, Flynn's security clearance was renewed. Today, Flynn announced that he's keeping his lips sealed, that he plans to plead the Fifth and not comply with a subpoena from the Senate Intelligence Committee.
Well, I'm disappointed, and I question whether there's real or legal basis to not produce any documents, and we're going to be looking into that, and I think the committee is going to still pursue all its options.
Flynn's lawyer says the retired lieutenant general has more than a reasonable apprehension that any testimony he provides could be used against him. While Flynn stays silent, former FBI Director James Comey is getting ready to speak out, set to testify in an open hearing before the committee in the coming weeks.
Chukai Sports is next. The Lowers prepare for the ICC World Cup qualifier and PNG ready for Solomon Islands in Football World Cup qualifier. Details after the break.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. To cricket, the CPL PNG Lowers are back at it with strenuous training, which will continue till the ICC Women's World Cup. The World Cup is only months away, though dates are yet to be confirmed. Speaking to EMTV Sports today, during their meet with their major sponsor, City Pharmacy, Lowers skipper Pauke Siaka said full-time training sessions have already commenced and the Lowers are now working on key improvement areas.
After the successful tour in Japan for the East Asia Pacific qualifiers, the PNG Lowers now have another opportunity to vie for an ODI status in the World Cup. Currently top in the region for the last 3 years, they have time and again proved their superiority. The recent one being their 6-wicket win over 2015 Pacific Games gold medalist Samoa in their East Asia Pacific qualifier last month. While handing over the EAP Champions Trophy to major sponsor City Pharmacy today, a soft-spoken skipper Pauke Siaka said with the requirement to adapt to different levels of play, the Lowers' ability to stay in the same wavelength is always a work in progress.
The team was very good and very balanced. On our performances in bowling, our bowlers, all the bowlers did very well and a very good job. And also in batting, we have improved a lot in our batting.
The team will be entering the World Cup as the underdog once more, but with every opportunity comes a lesson, and for this year they are already working towards making the mark in the World Cup.
We are working on our bowling, batting and fielding in our three divisions.
Meanwhile, the effort to gain ODI status is one they have been working for over 2 years. Unlike the men's team, the Barramundis, the Lowers are only playing T20 cricket, so making the cut in the World Cup would mean they will also acquire that status in order to advance on to one-day cricket. So for now, the schedule is already lined out and it's all training in the coming months prior to the World Cup. Dean Rose Raiko, National EMTV Sports.
To football, Papua New Guinea is ready for the Solomon Islands. This were the sentiments from PNG national coach Fleming Surtslov this afternoon as the national team begins preparations for their World Cup qualifier.
The national coach was speaking this afternoon as the team entered their second day in camp. The arrival of a number of the squad's stars have boosted the numbers, with midfielder Michael Foster going straight onto the pitch from the airport yesterday.
Yeah, they are doing very well, the boys. They know that the first period here in the camp, it'll be a very tough period because we have to be physical on top before we meet Solomon Islands.
Serislav says that while this is a younger looking side than the previous team from last year's campaign, he maintains his confidence in the squad.
We have a few experienced players who are very good in guiding the young players here in the squad. And first of all, our young players, they are very talented footballers. They are very eager to learn. They are very eager to play. So I'm very confident with the squad.
Under Serislav's tenure to date, a larger number of players have made their international debuts for Papua New Guinea. One of those players, defender Abel Redinat, who had been thrown into the deep end, making his full cap for Papua New Guinea against Tahiti.
Honestly, it was a really good feeling. Came off the bench, but the pressure was intense. But it felt good to be part of the national team among some good players like our captain himself, Michael Foster, some of my players where we played together in the under-23s. So yeah, the feeling was good. I was looking forward to it. So though we lost anything, but it was good.
For Serislav himself, he is still confident that Papua New Guinea will have their full complement of players in the coming days.
You know, as I told you, I don't know if you remember, but last year I said the biggest, not problem, but issue was actually for me to build a strong defense, because not only in Papua New Guinea, but I feel that in the whole region here, you don't develop a lot of defenders. And it was actually also why I moved Alvin Komolong from his normal position in midfield back into the defense. And it has been rather successful to do that.
The final squad will be announced prior to the June 9th qualifier. Jeremy Moggy, National TV Sports.
The World Cup qualifier between PNG and Solomon Islands is scheduled for 9th of June in Honiara. The national team has recently been fielding a string of young players, including Donovan Murray and Clement Willis.
Unlike in last year's Stage 2 campaign, where as hosts in the OFC Nations Cup, PNG had its most experienced players, with Serislav utilizing only 14 out of his 23 men then. This time around, he's had to utilize more players off his bench in a bid to solidify his selection.
Yeah, but of course it has a natural explanation since we suddenly lost 10 players out of 23 in our squad, so we had to bring some new players. But fortunately, those new players, they have adapted very soon, first of all, to our playing style philosophy, and they have adapted to the way we are doing our training every day.
Of particular interest is the backline. Seritslav's back four in the past two matches are all under the age of 25, Vice-Captain Alwyn Komolong being the oldest. Komolong in a studio interview had also made reference to that, saying that the future of PNG was safe, with young players being given these incredible opportunities to shine.
I think the game in Tahiti just proves the depth of our squad, and the young guys coming through, they've really stepped up to the challenge. And you know, with the squad we had last year, we only drew with them, and you know, when we go into Tahiti, we actually won with a lot of fresh faces in the team. So that's a very big positive for us going into the game. And you know, I feel that everyone, as I said, with the self-belief, and you know, in camp, everyone has there's good team spirit within the camp that brings everyone together, so that really helps.
The players include Clement Willis, Philip Stephen, Abel Redinat, and Komolong's brother Felix. Other young faces in the side include Patrick Isa, Donovan Murray, Jacob Sabor, Richard Alois, Stal Gobag, Obed Bicker, and of course, David Brown. It is expected that the Madang and overseas-based players will be in camp shortly, with Aaron Spain, George Sleffendorfish, Jamie Woodlock, and Nigel Dabinyaba to follow. Jeremy Moggy, National TV Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. This Sunday will see the inaugural Air Niugini Cup match between the SPPNG Hunters and the Townsville Blackhawks. The official cup launch was held today at the National Football Stadium in Port Moresby.
The Air Niugini Cup was a commemoration of the recently launched direct flights between Port Moresby and Townsville.
And the match this weekend is in recognition of that event. So I'm pleased, and I must thank the rugby league people, the Hunters, PNG, NRL as well, and everyone that's worked hard to deliver this match for us. And I'm pleased that we are doing that this weekend.
The cup will be played between the Townsville Blackhawks and the SPPNG Hunters annually. The Air Niugini Cup will also pay tribute to the 75th anniversary of the Battle of Kokoda.
The match this weekend, importantly for us, commemorates the 75th anniversary of the Kokoda track. And it's the 75th year of the Kokoda track, and that's important for us.
PNG RFL CEO Riata Rao thanked the Queensland Rugby League for giving them the opportunity.
It's a very big announcement to be done, and I'm going to leave that to our Mr. Kaumo to mention here, but we, with the PNG RFL side of things and Hunters, we're quite excited about this partnership.
Chairman of the SPPNG Hunters, Graham Osborne, says this can now see more people travel to and from to watch the Air Niugini Cup battle.
In the 3.5 years that the Hunters been in existence, we've only ever travelled Air Niugini. And Air Niugini have been very kind to us over a period of time that we've been doing that. And now we're formally putting it on paper, and now we have a cup also to be played for here and away in Townsville, and it's taking us to a new level with these games.
PNG RFL Chairman Sandy Saka expressed his gratitude and thanked Air Niugini for their loyal support.
And, going forward into the future, we hope that the Cup and the event will continue to grow. And we at the PNG RFL hope to celebrate this Sunday in a colourful way. So we invite everybody in Port Moresby and throughout the country to take charge of a few of the opportunities and offers that actually Air Niugini will be launching to promote this event.
Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
And that ends Chukai Sports. The weather details when we return.
Sports. True Kai Sports.
Your weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region only. Mostly fine, although partly cloudy in Port Moresby and Kerema. Mostly fine, although partly cloudy and windy in Daru. Mostly fine and windy in Alotau, and partly cloudy with a shower or two expected in Popondetta. And that's the way it is this Tuesday, 23rd of May 2017. On behalf of the entire news team, pleasant viewing. Good night.